a very warm welcome to this special as we preview the T20I series that is set to begin on 24th, which is tomorrow in Lucknow. The first game will be played in Lucknow between India and Sri Lanka. And lots to talk about because there are some players who have been injured from both teams. But India really high on that momentum after winning the T20I series against the West Indies. It was a 3-0 whitewash. India completely demolishing their opponents. What is it going to be like this time around? As we've been telling you, it is time for mission domination for this Indian team as they figure out the core for the T20 World Cup that is coming up later this year. But yes, lots to talk about. Nikhil Narayan is here with me. Nikhil, one straight thing, when you see the two teams, India clearly the favourites given how well they performed in the last 2 years. So you're really looking at a situation where it's about India experimenting at the same time carrying on that momentum of the win against the West Indies.
Absolutely, Maya. You know, under this new leadership of Rohit Sharma, India has won 9 matches and lost none. So they would look to continue the momentum, but also this gives them an opportunity to test their bench strength. 5 of India's players who would walked into any T20I 11 are not playing this series. Rishabh Pant, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, and a couple of others. So, you know, therefore, this is an ideal opportunity for the likes of Gaikwad, Jadeja making a comeback, Bumrah, except to you know, again cement a place in the 11 and, you know, finalize that final 11 for the World Cup in November.
That's right. But also looking at the past record, and there, if you look at that as well, you'll see that India have won 14 out of the 22 matches they played. But here, looking at, you know, how India have dominated Sri Lanka in the T20 internationals, Nikhil. And that's why I was saying that on paper, India just looking like a better team despite some of those big players who will be part of that core for the T20 World Cup. They are missing the series. Despite that, I think India will go in as favourites here.
By far, India are the favourites, Maya. They recently became the #1 T20I side, defeating West Indies 3-0. 14-7, although it's been 4-3 in the last 8 matches, but that is due to the fact that when India sent a C-grade team to Sri Lanka, when the main team was in England last year, Sri Lanka sort of won the series 2-1, but that doesn't count. Overall, India, the #1 team in the world, despite the performance in the T20 World Cup. Sri Lanka are ranked, you know, they're way below par. They have one of the worst win-loss ratios in the last couple of years. India has the best.
That's right, and you can see that where India have dominated Sri Lanka in the T20 internationals. There's, you know, with 22 matches being played between the two teams, India winning 14 of those matches and Sri Lanka winning just 7. So clearly, even the records are with India. And you look at India's performance in the recent times in this format, and you'll realize, and those numbers will come up on the screens in just a bit, that win-loss ratio, it's two contrasting units really. India and Sri Lanka. India at one end of the spectrum and Sri Lanka at the other end of the spectrum with, you know, losing just about every series that they played. In fact, if you talk about the most recent series that Sri Lanka have played against Australia, they lost that series 1-4. So yes, the one thing though that I feel that is going to trouble India is the Sri Lankan spinners.
Yeah.
We've seen that in the past as well, and Sri Lanka always have this knack of bringing these, you know, these mystery spinners. And I feel like that's one area that India will be concerned about, given how well Roston Chase bowled for the West Indies, and you know, Indians were struggling against him.
Absolutely, Maya. Therefore, it is a big blow for Sri Lanka that they don't have Wanindu Hasaranga for this series. He's out due to COVID. Another mystery spinner who's not playing this series is this guy called, his name is Theekshana, sorry.
Yeah.
His name is Theekshana. He's not playing this series. But they have someone who's done brilliantly for Sri Lanka in list A cricket recently. Someone called Daniel. He's an off spinner,
yeah,
and he's rated very highly in Sri Lanka. So he'll be a part of the T20I contingent. And let's see, maybe he can make up for, you know, Hasaranga and Theekshana. But, you know, Hasaranga not being there, he was the #1 bowler in the T20I World Cup, the best leg spinner in the T20I World Cup. It's a big, big blow for Sri Lanka.
It is a big, big blow. And the other being that there are some players from the Sri Lankan squad as well, who will be missing this series. They got injured, in the Australia series. So yes, this is also a team that is not really, the full strength Sri Lankan team. But let's talk about who can get the chances now that India are, without Virat Kohli, Rishabh Pant, KL Rahul, Deepak Chahar, and the informed Surya Kumar Yadav. And that's a perfect opportunity here. We've been talking about how India needs to get that playing 11. Do you see Ruturaj Gaikwad then being given an opportunity, given that Ishan Kishan really did not grab the chance that he was given?
Yeah, I think Ruturaj Gaikwad finally will get 3 matches and he will open with Rohit Sharma. And I think, it's only fair. He was brilliant in the IPL. Saeed Mushtaq, Vijay Hazare, he's only played, I think, 2 T20I matches for India, that too in that series against Sri Lanka. It's time to give Ruturaj Gaikwad a longer rope. And I think, Ishan Kishan, I think he was buried under the expectation of 15.25 CR. The way he played, he was under pressure against the West Indies. He got a couple of 30s, but the timing wasn't there, the strike rate wasn't there, not getting the boundaries. In fact, Rohit Sharma was brilliant playing the aggressor. So I think if Ishan plays, because there's Sanju Samson also in the team, if Kishan plays, he will play at 3 or 4. I think Ruturaj Gaikwad will open with Rohit Sharma.
Okay, but we've also got to talk about Shreyas Iyer and how this is an opportunity for Shreyas Iyer, given that Virat Kohli is not going to be playing in this series. And, there is always this this back and forth with Shreyas and Surya Kumar Yadav. Now, in the last series, we saw the kind of form that Surya Kumar Yadav is in. It's unfortunate that he's out because of an injury, but this is a perfect opportunity then for Shreyas Iyer to say, hey, I'm there as well. I can be your middle order batsman.
Correct. See, I think the competition is between Shreyas and Surya, but I think Surya has already won that. Surya was the player of the series against the West Indies, and I don't see Surya not playing in the 11 if he's fit in the World Cup. He's just too destructive a batsman, too dangerous a batsman, and that he showed against the West Indies. So I think Surya Kumar Yadav has now firmly established his place. Shreyas Iyer will be an extra in case KL Rahul is injured, because KL Rahul, remember, either he'll open the innings or he'll play at 5. But if KL Rahul doesn't fit into the scheme of things, maybe if Virat Kohli doesn't fit into the scheme of things going forward, we don't know. Shreyas Iyer is the replacement. He's a good batsman to either play at 3 or 4. He has all the qualities. It's just that, Surya is just marginally better and that X factor is there.
Never say never when it comes to Indian cricket. We saw how it was first Shreyas Iyer who was given all the opportunities. But yes, for now, Surya Kumar Yadav will quite ahead in that race. But the other 2 cricketers who are making a comeback, and I think India would be happy with that, is Jasprit Bumrah and Ravindra Jadeja. It's been a while. We've been talking about when is Ravindra Jadeja going to be back. That's how crucial he's become, when it comes to T20 cricket for India, and for that matter, any format. Not just with the ball, but with the bat as well. And here, one can expect that kind of performance from him yet again.
Absolutely. He adds balance to the side, Maya. He hasn't played since the 2021 exit, missed the New Zealand and the West Indies series. See, Ravindra Jadeja has a strike rate in the 150 since 2020, and he gives you those restrictive overs in the middle overs, between over 7 and 15, plus an excellent fielder. So, Ravindra Jadeja, and also lately for CSK, if we notice, he started finishing matches. He became this finisher for CSK. Also for India in ODIs, and his test batting improved dramatically. So I think Ravindra Jadeja being there at number 6 is a big boost for India. Him along with, Venkatesh Iyer. These 2, I think, will be our all-rounders in the T20 11. I don't see Hardik Pandya playing. I also don't see Deepak Hooda playing. And also, Jasprit Bumrah, you mentioned. Very important for Jasprit Bumrah this series. He's also not played after the T20 World Cup, not played T20 cricket. Jasprit Bumrah, in ODI cricket, we discussed this. His numbers have gone down dramatically. His wicket-taking prowess is down. His wicket-taking ability in the power play is down. That is, however, not the case in T20I cricket. He's been India's go-to bowler. He is one of the top 5 bowlers as far as economy rate is concerned in the power play in the last couple of years. Also a big wicket-taker for India. So far his form in T20I cricket hasn't gone down. Right? But India needs Jasprit Bumrah because Deepak Chahar is not playing this series, and Jasprit Bumrah will be very important given the World Cup is in Australia.
Just last couple of questions. One being, you spoke about Venkatesh Iyer, and I want to quickly talk about Venkatesh Iyer and how good has he been guided along with Suryakumar Yadav. Again, these are now matches and series which are going to be important for some of these players to say, hey, I want to be on that flight to Australia come the World Cup. And I think Venkatesh Iyer in the series against the West Indies has said that I could be that finisher.
Yeah.
And I think in Surya's absence now, given that Surya was the other person playing that role, it falls on Venkatesh Iyer. And if he can do the job well, I feel like he could be, that one finisher that India would want.
Absolutely. I think he's already taken the place of Hardik Pandya. And he's been brilliant. He brings versatility in his batting order. He opens for KKR. He's batting in the lower middle order for India. He's giving you a couple of overs with the ball. He is the finisher. Jadeja is just making a comeback. India doesn't have finishers in the lower middle order. So Rishabh Pant is not playing this series. I think Venkatesh Iyer has whatever he's shown in the limited opportunities he's got. He's filling that role as the death over finisher for India. A very, very crucial role. A role for which teams played big money to players like Shrinman, Hetmeyer, Nicholas Pooran, and other West Indies players in the recent IPL auction. It's a specialized role. Not everyone can do it. Venkatesh Iyer is doing his image and his role as a finisher is currently, I think, he's India's #1 prospect to be in the 11 as that fast bowling all-rounder.
That's right. And on top of that, I mean, this is what Rohit Sharma had said, after the last match of the series against the West Indies, where he said, Venkatesh Iyer came up to me and said, let me bowl an over. So here is somebody who wants to bowl, and then he got 2 wickets as well. So definitely, like you said, he is cementing that place. And slowly, I mean, I think in this series, if he does really well, then possibly he is going to be, in that playing 11. But Rohit Sharma, how good has he been? You've got to be under pressure.
Yeah.
You've got a lot to prove. Now you've also been given Test captaincy. But how good has he been since the time he's begun? Because he's won everything till now. Yeah,
it's been 9-0 for Rohit since he took over full-time captaincy. See, everyone expected Rohit to do this. He's an astute captain, he's a shrewd captain, brilliant field placements, brilliant bowling changes. He's taken a risk. He's got 2 wrist spinners back in Bishnoi and Chahal. The template of going all out in the power play, it's working for India. So he's being bold. He's taking chances, and he's also said he backed Virat Kohli. I thought that was fantastic. He's also said that India will not experiment. And there's a difference between experimenting and testing the bench strength after you win a series, which India did, and experimenting at the cost of winning a series, which he's not in favor of. He wants players to get a longer rope. So I like this policy. There's certain concrete moves and decisions taken by Rohit with Rahul Dravid, and I think Indian cricket is in good hands. Also, I think a lot more involvement I'm seeing of seniors since Rohit Sharma has taken over. He's, players like Ashwin is not playing this series, but other seniors in the team, he's going up to them, he's taking their opinion, Pant is giving his inputs. A lot more is happening. So a lot more involvement of the entire team since Rohit Sharma has taken over.
That's right. So yes, India versus Sri Lanka, that is the series that we're building up to. We'll get you all the latest from that series and from the world of sports. That's it. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for joining us. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.